I will call to order the March 12th Board of Commissioners meeting. If we could stand to salute the flag, and after the flag, if we could remain standing for a moment of silence for Corporal Timothy O'Connor. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The board would like to offer its condolences to Corporal Timothy O'Connor's family and keep their family in our thoughts and prayers, as well as the Cowan Township Police, who every day go out and, sometimes never know whether the same type of action might happen to them. So, the board would like to thank our township police for keeping this community safe and, make sure that we keep them safe in our thoughts and prayers. So thank you very much. There was an executive session held before tonight's meeting regarding legal, property, and personnel matters. Is there any citizens by request for township agenda items? Anybody here in the building? Anyone online? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to Township Manager. Number one, 2026 Street Sweeping Program.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you, President Young. In your packet is a memo from Director Huggins, Public Works Director, regarding street sweeping for 2026. As in the past, I believe it's 2 years, the township has leased or rented a street sweeping unit. And then public works staff have been able to go out and conduct a annual street sweeping. This is a cost savings of from when we had contracted that out of about $8,000, give or take, at the time. And we received 3 quotes for this rental from Stewart Amos Equipment, $9,945. Vortec Industries Incorporated, $10,900. U.S. Municipal Supply, $13,500. Stewart Amos Equipment was the company that we leased from last year, and the recommendation would be to continue with that program through the company, the low bidder.
Okay. So we're just discussing.
I'm happy to answer any questions
tonight.
Yes.
Okay.
I had just one question, because I noticed that Vortec has a delivery and pickup fee of $175 per hour. Does Stewart Amos have a delivery and pickup fee?
That's a really good question. I'm not sure if it may be built into the total quote. They did not break down that invoice specifically. I'll be happy to check into that and bring that information back to the board before the business meeting at the end of the month.
Excellent, thank you. I noticed they're on Paxton Street in Harrisburg.
I believe that's correct.
Yes.
Any other questions?
No.
Great. Anybody from the residents have any questions on the street sweeping? Right, seeing none, we'll move on to number 2, Township Website Provider.
Thank you, Commissioners. As you're aware, we have a township website. It has a lot of information on that website. Staff, including Assistant Manager Swan, do a great job keeping it up to date, and we try to provide as much information as we can to the public as possible. It is the most forward-facing element of township operations, aside from the building itself. And unfortunately, the provider we've been utilizing for that website has not been providing the updates as frequently, and we've had quite a few issues over the past, I'd say, year or so, where due to the lack of the updates, certain things were kind of disappearing, falling off, or making it really difficult to update. Abby, Assistant Manager Swan, has gone out and, along with Jessica in the communications department, and had been interviewing various providers and then following up with the municipalities that have received service from those providers, and put together a informational proposal within your packet. Really, because you've been doing quite a bit of the legwork on this, would you care to provide your feedback to the board on your experience?
Sure. It's been really fun. No, it's interesting. You know, I think we're all familiar with the few biggest government specific website providers. One of the big issues that we are also facing, in addition to the current provider just not functioning and not being maintained very well, is ADA compliance. So there's some new laws coming into effect next year that will impact the ADA requirements for our website. And currently we're not meeting those and not able to with this provider. So we are looking at a pretty substantial price increase, but you get what you pay for. So we laid out sort of the 4 major ones. We've definitely looked at a lot of other websites, spoken to quite a few people, and they're all fine. You know, I think our preference is narrowed down probably to I think the first 2 on that list. So we found a smaller company in South Carolina that actually does basically all the municipal websites in one county. And Jess was just scrolling through website after website and found some that she really liked, looked to see who the provider was. And these guys were surprised to get our phone call because they don't have any other clients in Pennsylvania. But what we liked about them was that they were very hands-on. They would give us an absolutely, personal website that's geared exactly towards what we need and what our residents are looking for. They go through a pretty long process of analysis and kind of talking to all of us, getting feedback from the public. And I mean, it will be a long process for sure. But this website at this point is over 10 years old, and they just don't last forever, unfortunately. So the customer service is absolutely lacking with the current site. And I think any of these other companies would be better than what we have now. But a sort of independent company that doesn't do 10,000 sites at once, I think would provide the best customer service in general overall. So happy to answer any questions.
Which one is that one?
Sorry, that is Ingenious.
Genius, yes.
Yes.
I remember talking with you a month or so ago about this. And I know I see so many of these boilerplate
Mhm.
township and government sites, and Ingenious does seem like it would allow us to kind of stand out a little.
Absolutely.
And I don't think they were the most expensive.
They are not,
No, right.
not even close.
What is it that this would allow you to do that you can't, like, what will we get more for our residents than we do now?
So the ADA is really big,
Okay.
and I don't know, the staff spends a lot of time on the website. For example, the website now has decided that my login can't send out newsletters anymore. There's no reason. So Jessica has to send out the newsletters because hers allows her to. And we put in tickets and they go unanswered. And it has worked very well for us so far. And there's a ton of information on there, which is great. But it is slowly falling apart and they're not providing any updates. So eventually something will break that we can't get fixed.
Okay.
I think having that customer service, both for our sake and for the residents' sake, is going to be huge. The ADA component, I don't think, can be overstated. I'm sure that there will be, understandably lawsuits and things coming up in the future as these new legislation takes effect. So these guys are very excited to work with us. They're excited to design something that highlights Calne and what we love about it, and make sure that we can get, the information out there to our residents easily and quickly and effectively in sort of a creative way. So, yeah, that's what we're looking for.
Do you think we'll be able to provide a grant for this to cover the expense of purchasing something like this?
You know, I haven't seen any grants that support that. Have you?
The, I would say the only program that may provide some support would be the LSA program through DCED, only because it is more open-ended. The challenge with that is it's open-ended and it's highly competitive, not just within the Commonwealth as a whole, but within the township. So we do utilize that to access funding for the fire department, police, and the administration, simply because there's not as many of those programs that fit specific needs. So we would have to balance out, if we would go after for LSA funding for the website, it would potentially take away from some other applications that are in the queue, but that's certainly something we can look at.
I want to also ask, is this something that could be added to our security insurance proposal we were looking at? Does it require some type of security to enhance it even more?
There would definitely be cybersecurity provisions built into an updated website.
Mhm.
I think regardless of who we would go with, we obviously would need both from the insurance standpoint in case we do have an incident, which we're not going to, of course.
Sure.
Also from the IT side with Help Now,
Mhm.
having some of the back end security protocols in place and updates is highly recommended. So from the website standpoint, it would also have cybersecurity built
So that
in,
would probably be built into the proposal.
and they would
Oh, yes.
communicate with each other.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, and that is one of the concerns about not having the site be updated
don't have
now,
that.
is that eventually that could open us up to some issues.
And if I'm correct, the one we currently have is like 5 years old or older,
Oh,
so.
over
it's-
10 years
it's-
old.
It's old.
It was here when I got here.
Yeah, so it's something we definitely need.
Yeah, but I think generally, people seem to like pretty much how it's laid out.
Mhm.
We don't have a lot of complaints about not being able to find information.
Hmm.
We have more information on there by far than most
Right.
municipalities that I've looked at. One of the companies, when they were kind of coming up with our quote, said you have over 100 pages on your website, and they were
Mm.
just going to charge us per page, basically. So that was sort of unusual, but yeah.
I mean, Abby, that would be the point, is to alleviate staff here. The more that we could put on the website and the easier it is to access, then that's less time we're paying staff to do minimal, research that they could be
Oh, of
finding themselves,
course,
whether it's code. So the more robust the system, the more usable. I'm looking at one of these sites here from Ingenious,
Mhm.
and they even have a downloadable app, which I don't even think our system would, it would choke at even hearing about that.
No.
So, I mean, I do think that it's, 2026, and the outward facing information that we need to provide to the
For sure.
community, whether it's just standard information from the township regarding day to day, or if there is an emergency,
Right.
they have an opportunity, even bill paying here is, a situation. So yeah, I do think this is something we need to strongly look at.
And they can, it's not necessarily included in this quote, but part of this will be able to integrate some additional online services, pavilion rentals. If we, right now we're using a few different systems for volunteer signups and ticket sales and things like that. And Ingenious will be able to help us integrate all of that into our site, which will make a lot more streamlined.
I do have a question for now. Would we be able to also use this across departments for applications for zoning and some other simple things to?
So that's not included in the proposals for any of them. Civic Plus and I think Granicus both have many different additional softwares that handle all those other things. So that's something we would talk about, maybe not in the beginning, and I haven't spoken to really any of the other directors about that, but I think that will probably be the direction we go.
Okay. I'd rather have the system in place to handle that now than,
Yeah.
as we know, retrofitting later.
We could not do that with the current site.
And between the current website and all the side things that we have to do to make it work,
Mhm.
what are we paying right now?
It's not very much.
That's probably why.
It's-
Closer to that
it's about-
$19,000 one that.
Yeah, it's about $400 a year.
That's why.
That is why.
You get what you pay.
Yeah, you get what you pay for.
Exactly.
And I
Nothing.
don't think they've ever increased that price. It's just, I think they've forgotten about it. Square bought the company 2 years ago
Mm.
and they no longer have their own tech support. You call Square. They try to refer you to somebody who knows about this site and there's nobody. So
Wow.
it's on its last legs.
So all the human hours that go in to try and make
Oh my
this site work, probably,
Yeah, we spend a lot of time
yeah,
dealing with its
yeah.
Slow.
quirks.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
No.
Any questions from residents? Anybody online? I see 2 hands online.
Vince?
Vince
Vince.
Rose and Mark.
Hey guys, it's Vince Rose. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you.
Hey, Vince.
Great. A couple quick questions. Number one, have we talked with other municipalities our size, with our population? What are they using?
The vast majority of townships in Chester County use Civic Plus, of our size and larger and smaller. Honestly, West Bradford just got a new Civic Plus website. And if you start looking at all the township websites, you'll learn to recognize them. It's very common. The county has a Civic Plus website. And they kind of dominate the market right now.
They all look the same.
They look very similar.
And my apologies, I may have missed that part. Are we looking at them as well? Is that what
Yep, they're on the list.
Okay. And where do they rank in terms of price?
Second highest.
Second
The
highest?
highest, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I think the way Jess and I kind of went through, and we have extensive spreadsheets of all the different pros and cons of each one, and Revise and Ingenious, I think were the 2 highest in our perspective in terms of functionality and also price. The more expensive ones just don't seem to add all that much for that extra cost. And sorry, I don't have that up here, but the prices are really all over the place.
So I guess, Abby, my question is the service that most municipalities use within Chester County
Mhm.
and the service that Chester County uses, you say they're top 2 price. I mean, is it thousands of dollars or is it hundreds of dollars?
Yeah, so the quote that we got from Civic Plus is that $88,000 over 5 years. So they all have different.
9, actually.
89,000.
Can you make it?
89,000,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're $100
It's-
off.
Sorry, I can't see it. There we go, 88.9. And that is, so that was Civic Plus. Ingenious is looking at 81,000. Granicus over 90,000. And then Revise is under 20,000. And we're not entirely sure why, but that's
all-
over 5 years. So they each have drastically different setup costs and then drastically different annual fees. So we tried to do the math out so that we could like compare, correctly.
Okay. Again, anything technology related, I'm happy to share my experience, review the proposals,
Awesome.
pick out certain things that might not be apples to apples.
Hmm.
So it sounds like the service we have now is maybe somebody in their garage. So anything would be an improvement, but if we're going to
It's
upgrade,
Tony.
we should.
It's Tony Cesario.
But if we're going to upgrade, I would highly recommend we do a, really specific eye test on apples to apples on what they're providing,
Yes.
what their response times are, what their service
Yes.
level agreements are. If the website goes down, like what's the recourse? Like there's a lot of things involved in that. I'm just picking off the top of my head from experience. So again, happy to offer my pro bono services to staff to look through the proposals. Very happy to do that.
Super. Thanks, Vince. Yeah, they do not want you to compare apples to apples. They're all listed
not.
differently. The wording is different. The only thing that really stood out, Ingenious was the only site that people were excited to recommend to us. Everybody else was kind of, they're okay.
I'll just leave you with this, Abby and Don and Board of Commissioners. I have a ton of experience in this, so happy to help.
Thank you, Vince.
Thank you. Mark Fox?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Mark?
Pretty good. Vince hit a nail on the head, but I was concerned because you went right with the $81,000 one and didn't even bring up revise. So I think that from going from $400 a year to 19,000 is pretty significant, but to go from 400 to 81 is even more significant.
That's over a 5-year period.
It's 5 years.
It's
yeah.
not 81 a year, it's 81 over 5 years.
But then again, isn't revise 19 over 5 years?
Mhm.
Yes, I just wanted, you said
okay.
per year. I just wanted to make sure that that was clear.
Okay, 5 years is clear, sure. So it's a lot of money to just go right with to the, top tier without, like Vince says, doing the apples to apples. So that's all.
Thank you, Mark. Is there anyone else with a raised hand?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so we will talk about this at our next meeting. Thank you for your work on that, Abby, and give our thanks to Jessica as well. Next up is DARA intermunicipal agreement, 7th Amendment.
Thank you, Commissioners. There's a bit of detail in your packet this evening regarding this amendment to the DARA agreement. Essentially, this is DARA obviously treats the sewer system from Callan Townships, and as part of our multi-municipal agreement with that board, any transfer of capacity between one municipality to another requires all municipalities to sign off that there's no need at this time in the township, in the individual municipalities for that capacity. There is a requested transfer of capacity from East Callan Township, will be purchased by Euclid Township. This is for proposed development in Euclid Township. The price of the capacity is a little higher than I think it would have, it normally has been in the past. And at this time in Callan Township, we have capacity, we have sufficient capacity for current development and any potential proposed. CTMA and specifically Director Gill does a fantastic job forecasting out what capacity requirements will be, and we're well within our capacity for the foreseeable future. In addition, with DARA undergoing an expansion, there will be additional capacity available for all municipalities that participate with DARA in the very near future. So this agreement is essentially the township saying at this time, there is no need to purchase additional capacity, and we would be fine with that transfer. Not even we would be fine with the transfer, just that we do not need the capacity. And I know Commissioner Mullen serving on the CTMA board. Please, if I left anything out, please let me know.
Thanks, Don. No, you pretty much covered it. I think East Callan had purchased this 50,000 gallons a couple of years back. And we were offered it at the time, but it was a little bit too much money and it wasn't worth it. And of course, we didn't need the capacity at the time. And another note as well, we do have a pump station here, which will divert any additional capacity that we do need over to Coatesville. Of course, we do not like to take advantage of that as much, only because of the cost involved going that way. But at this point, as my reports have been on DARA, we have, they are looking for the expansion in that plant. And I think once that is said and done, we'll have the additional capacity we will need in the future.
At a lower cost than
At a
what's
lower
being
cost.
offered here.
Yeah, it's outrageous. And just as a side note, East Callan, I believe it was about 1.2 million when they originally purchased this, and they're actually selling it for 1.6. But we are a township that is not supposed to make profit. And that's all I will say about that. Thank you, Don.
Anything else on that?
Now, this, for this evening, this is a discussion item. Happy to answer any questions, or if there's any questions that come up between now and the next meeting. And it would be on the board agenda for the business meeting at the end of the month.
Okay. Sorry, I can't see the name. Oh, Mark Young.
Still muted there.
You should be able to unmute Mark.
Does anybody in the room have any questions while we're trying to get technology working?
Stock EDUs.
Yeah,
Mark,
sure.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's just a little technology issues that I have to get used
Yep.
to. So I just have a question. This is kind of down the road, but what happens when Mainline Health comes online with their sewage capacity? Obviously, that's going to be huge compared to, residential developments and things like that. So I'm just throwing that out there to find out what our future looks like when that development
That-
goes through.
Good.
The board doesn't mind. Actually, surprisingly, I had thought Mainline Health, given the size of the facility, would have a large requirement regarding capacity, but based on the use at that facility, their EDUs, their capacity limit is surprisingly small. I believe, I think I was speaking with Director Gill today about some of the future with this topic on the agenda. And as far as, I think it's like 10 or 11 EDUs only for the size of that facility. So relatively small, given the space. A lot of it is dedicated towards uses that will not necessarily require a lot of flushing. And we did request, CTMA Director Gill requested the water usage from similar facilities within the mainline system in order to calculate what that capacity limit would be, but it is surprisingly low.
And that, correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, but that would gravity flow to Downingtown. If we crossed our threshold at Downingtown, the pump station would kick on and send whatever excess we can't send to Downingtown down to Coatesville.
Yeah.
So we have the capacity at Coatesville in order to handle any kind of development that's already been approved.
Yes.
Okay, so if that happens, how do you bill Mainline Health for the additional costs as
Under
the rates are much
regulation,
higher? As
Yeah.
Paul alluded to, the rates are outrageous in Coatesville compared to Dara. And just for my own education, if you could explain what an EDU is, I know you guys know the terms, but
what's the calculation? Is it 1,000 per, 250 per 1,000?
225. I
225?
think it's down to 225. Yeah, an
So it's-
EDU is equivalent dwelling unit.
okay.
So it's the amount of capacity, amount of use that individual unit is,
And
you know,
and how many
provide.
EDUs did you say?
11.
11?
10 or 11,
So 2475.
something
Per
around
day.
those, yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
yeah.
we're in
We may
line
have the
if they have to,
capacity.
if they had to divert to Coatesville, how does Mainline Health end up paying for that compared to it going to Dara?
Well, honestly, I believe we may have the capacity at Dara anyway.
Yeah.
But your point is well taken, because at some point we may be rerouting excess flows to Coatesville, which will increase it. But between now and hopefully within 5 years with the Dara expansion, we can keep our costs down. And that's what CTMA is all about.
If it ever became necessary, excuse me, would we be able to buy back if we needed it?
Not at this rate. the
Mhm.
cost that East County is selling this for, we don't want to touch it.
Okay.
It's just not worth it. We're, you know, the long game waiting for this expansion to happen is going to be the best cost savings. And I wouldn't touch this thing for, you know, what is it, Tony, $30? I think,
31, yeah.
Wow. Okay.
yeah, which is outrageous.
It's almost cheaper to build the expansion. Or it might be based on the use.
So yeah, Mark, I think we are playing our cards right on this. And, you know, with Mainline Health, I don't think it's going to take a huge burden on our system. And I think Dara may be able to handle it.
Okay, thank you for your explanation of sewage.
As long as you can flush your toilet, we're happy. Right?
Any other questions on this topic before we move on? All right, seeing none, we will move on to Liquid Fuels Independent Bank Account.
Thank you. Thank you, commissioners. This action is being driven from the liquid fuels audit primarily. As you know, each year the township receives funding. It's primarily from the gas tax at the Commonwealth for our maintenance of local roadways. It's a calculation based on the mileage, the current rate, and then the amount of roads that we have within each municipality. The state then, of course, comes in. We can spend it on very restricted items, road salt, the road program, certain equipment, and road-related activities within a certain approved list. And then each year, the Commonwealth comes into the township and audits to make sure it was spent appropriately. One thing that in the past the state has suggested, and then last year made a strong recommendation, let's put it that way, but to set up its own bank account, it's easier for them from an audit standpoint to, of course, be able to, if the funds go into a separate account, they're able to, very easily identify where the funds that came in and then what we spent it on. So this would just be to authorize the finance department, Director Swan, to establish that account for our liquid fuels funds to meet the requirements of the audit. Director Swan, am I leaving anything out with that explanation?
Right on target with it. There's just, it's a cleaner, more transparent for all of our transactions to just have one fund. And this fund would be dedicated in our Pliget account. It's also our responsibility with this taxable money that we're getting from state government that we do our best to invest it as well. So if we do it with Pliget, we're bound to come out with anywhere between about $12,000 and $16,000 in interest, as opposed to $3,000 to $4,000 with it now commingled in our general fund. So it's a win-win situation for all of us. More money, for us to free money, and then more money that we can invest to spend it in the township. So.
Any questions on that?
That was a good idea.
Okay. Next up, 2026 Town Tour, Callan Meeting House.
Thank you, commissioners. Well, we have a busy year in front of us with the 250th. We have quite a few events, and one of those events is partnering through the Chester County, the Town Tour program. This is a program where various historical sites and areas of significance are highlighted within each community, and it's promoted by the county, and interested individuals throughout are able to come out and view that, view the historic property. There's usually either a lecture or some sort of program in order to demonstrate the importance of that the significance of that historic resource within the community. For this year, Callan Township was selected to host one of those town tours, which we're excited about. It is going to be held on June 18th, so coming up in a few short months, and it's going to be at the Quaker Meeting House. So the Meeting House is having its 300th anniversary this year, so it's a very significant year in the history of that property. It's one of the oldest properties within the township, one of the oldest properties within the county. And to be able to be celebrating the 250th of our nation and also the 300th anniversary of that important, significant resource is very wonderful. Details are being put together, and of course, we'll be briefing the board on details of that as it moves forward. Primarily, this has been put forward by the Historical Commission, and we'll be working in conjunction with them in order to ensure that this event would be a success and everyone will be safe. And it's important to be a part of this big celebration throughout the year. Happy to answer any questions as we know it now.
Thanks, Don. I just wanted to put a pin on the significance of this, that Town Township's been here for a long time. They've been doing the town tours for a long time, and Town Township was never considered. And since 2003, this is our second town tour that we've been awarded. The first one drew 307 people to Spackman Davis Farm. This one will be interesting. But it's just, one of the missions we have here is to get Count out there, to be recognized on the county level and state level. So it's an honor.
Any other comments?
Let's make it happen.
All right. On to the next one, 300 North Bailey Road Property Acquisition Agreement.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioners. As we discussed at the last board meeting, and there is some information included in your packet, for the past several weeks and months, I've been in communication with the property owner at 300 North Bailey Road. We have come to terms in terms of the acquisition of that property and have a settlement coming up, depending on the conversation tonight, of course, but settlement coming shortly. The property itself is about 4,000 square feet on 3.3 acres that abuts the Ingleside Golf Course, which is township owned. Over the history of that golf course and the property, there have been a number of issues regarding easements between those two property lines. For example, the first tee of the golf course is partially on this property's property boundary. That has been over to, since those easements were established with the development of the townhomes on that site, those easements have been agreed to. We have had some issues that have come up from time to time with parking and things of that sort, but largely we've been able to mitigate them. Obviously, you never know what the future will hold, depending on the future of that property. One of the benefits of this would be to be able to clean those easements up. Overall, the value of the property could be considered somewhat diminished because of the easement issues that were outstanding. So this would eliminate those. Of course, the board has advised me to establish a high-end restaurant if possible. And I am in the midst of having those conversations to lease the space out. That would be in my interest as well. I do not want to add restaurant management to the township's portfolio, but of course, having a restaurant that would be able to come in and provide that amenity to not just golfers at Ingleside on a consistent basis, but also to the residents of Callan Township would be something that I think would be helpful. It's also quite a bit of space, so we do have well into the future the acquisition would allow for possible use of that facility for other needs as well. Future boards can, of course, determine what is in the best interest of the township. But for the short term, I am continuing to have those conversations. I am hopeful. It's a beautiful property. It is just has a lot of history to it. With the parking areas being combined, it allows for us to take advantage of potential community events on that site, things of that sort. It does integrate well with the golf course. It is right off the first tee, right by Ingleside Clubhouse. And we hope to be able to, by owning this property, connect the golf course with the property more seamlessly in order to encourage use of the facility, at least in part from those attending the golf course. So we, as you know, from the packet of materials, we did have the property appraised at 1.5 million. Agreed to 925,000 as to purchase the property. We will also be acquiring some of the furniture and other things. So if a restaurant would be able to come in, it would be ready to go, along with the kitchen items, things of that sort. To fully fit out a kitchen is quite expensive, so there is value to that. I'm happy to answer any questions regarding this. This is an action item on the agenda for this evening, but I'm happy to take any questions the board may have.
And I just, I think you said 4,000 square feet. I have 8,278 square foot building.
I must have missed both.
I'm usually the one misspeaking.
Board have any comments or questions? Seeing none, any residents here in the township building? Tony?
Getting some text messages that people are cut off from the meeting, and I can see who was cut off too, yeah. Hey, Tony.
We would not have a business, would be leasing property. And we do, that is something we already engage in. With the Spackman Farm, for example, we lease that out for agricultural use on an annual basis. So we've had a farmer farm that property and they lease that from us. That would be the goal. Yeah. That's our intent. Yes. Well, there's a couple of different options. And we've talked as a board, if we cannot find a suitable, with the board regarding a suitable tenant, it's an amazing space in terms of, for a variety of functions, community center, for example, it could be a rentals for various activities, so nonprofits. We occasionally have these nonprofit groups. There's not a large space to have their meetings in the township. So we do have inquiries to use this space, and it's adequate, but we've had problems with the past. If someone wants to have food in the township building, that can be an issue, things of that sort. So as a community center would be possible. Long-term, as the township continues to grow, residents continue to move to Callan Township. We're at 15,000, give or take now, and projections throughout the region indicate we could be up closer to 20 in a very short period of time. That has significant demands on staff. Public Works, administration, codes, finance. We are in this building, it's getting very tight. So long-term, as we continue to grow to support the needs of the community as it expands, that could be office space for township employees as well, which would keep us from having to lease out space or could, creating an entire new complex. So it provides options, and that's up to this board, of course, to direct me. And it's also at future boards. It gives them opportunities that I'm not even thinking of right now that may come up 20 years from now, that it's an opportunity for them.
He's not on it.
Expand. I guess because of historical,
Mhm.
they won't let them do it.
It is an historic property.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he did an amazing job renovating that property. I don't believe there's any intent to expand. If that ever would come up in the future, we could look into that, but I don't know off the top of my head. A lot can happen in 20 years. Yeah.
Somebody was gonna buy it from him. That time. I don't know if anybody remembers.
Oh, what was it? I'm sorry.
That guy John was in there. The guy was gonna buy the Cannon House over there, but he wanted to expand to it.
Yeah, I don't.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I remember, the only thing I can remember is that they wanted to build a, like senior living apartments behind.
The guy you're talking about, I remember this. what he wanted to do was, he said, I would one day like to have a restaurant in here. I'd like to use it as my office eventually, but what I really want to do right now is put in electric vehicle charging in the lot to get me through the next couple of years.
Talking about the building, you want to expand the building. Bigger restaurant, but it's not that big in there.
There's a second floor with rooms, so.
To Mr. Hastrom and Mrs. Hastrom have done an amazing job. I've walked through that building throughout this process and
People
They've
can't
really
hear you,
been-
Tony. I'm getting notes from residents. They can't hear you. Where's the microphone?
no, they've done a fantastic job, in terms, as caretakers of that historic property
Yes.
and have invested quite a bit of resource. The second floor is gorgeous right now. It really is an impressive property.
Green.
I got it. I got it now.
There you are.
Bye to everybody.
You have a good radio voice. Get that microphone up there.
Thank you, Tony.
Thanks,
Anybody
Tony.
else here in the meeting room have any questions before I move online? Seeing none, who's number one? I think Vince Rose's hand was number one.
Mhm.
Vince?
Hey, everybody, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Several questions. Number one, Don, can you repeat the estimated purchase price of the property and the dwelling?
Property itself would be 925.
Okay. I would highly recommend, this is $1 million investment for the township, not only for current residents, but future. Where's the money coming from?
This money is coming from cash reserve, the reserve account, and then will be repaid back with interest
Right.
over time.
So if we have another hurricane that wipes out another bridge, we've wasted $1 million on a property that really has no return on investment at this point. I'm pretty upset about this. I would highly recommend that the board entertain a public hearing on the purchase of this property. I think it goes beyond, the twice a month meetings here where there's other business. I think a focused hearing on this needs to be had. I've been here for 26 years. That restaurant's gone through, off the top of my head, 7 owners in 24 years. Don't know what we're thinking if we, have another company come in and run the business, and they're going to last more than what the previous people have had. It's a bad location for a restaurant. It's never worked out for spillover golfers to go have a meal after a round of golf. We don't have that clientele here. So I think it's a big mistake, and I would highly recommend a public hearing before this is purchased. It's very upsetting to me. And I again, public hearing is definitely warranted here.
Thank you for, thank you for your comment. Next up, I can't see what the name is. I just see LC. Alicia.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, Alicia.
Hey, Alicia.
Hi, Alicia Carini, Airwood Drive. A couple things here. I have a question. Did the township at one time own that restaurant?
No.
So it was never part of the golf course?
It was prior to the township owning the golf course.
So at one time it was all one package, so to speak?
Yes, when it was owned by Jack Lowe, when he owned the golf course, he bought the golf course to develop the golf course, Ingleside, whatever the community is there. But the golf course used to look significantly different than it does now. They developed the homes and the apartments and townhomes there, and then he sold off the golf course and subdivided off the restaurant and sold that separately too.
Okay, that's good context. So at least at one point it was actually meant for these two things to be together.
It was at one time. They owned,
Okay.
it was all one parcel.
Awesome. And then just a comment. So I respect everybody's opinions, obviously. I think we really need to think about not what happened yesterday and not what's happening today, but who's coming into this township. and what this is going to look like in 10 years and what will be the needs of those demographics moving in here. And so to say that yesterday, it didn't work out or we shouldn't have a restaurant right now, I think is not fair to the people that are moving into the township and spending their tax dollars to live here. And I could even see expanding upon the recreation facility there to include more than just the golf course. In other words, if you had a restaurant there that did an athletic type of brunch and you had, whether you had some kind of a yoga or some other activity on that property, I could actually see that one day as more of a recreation center. But the way the township looks today and the way it looked yesterday is not the way it's going to look in 10 years. And I think we need to be mindful of that. And that's all I wanted to say. Thanks.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Alicia. Alicia. Next up is that Mark DeYoung?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Got a little better technology wise. I think it was Vince that I think it was Vince that spoke first, and I had the same concerns that he has. Restaurants are difficult to run, difficult to keep, and they fail typically, as this place has failed over and over again, as Vince pointed out. And hopefully, I'm saying his name. It was Vince.
Yes, that's it.
Okay. The hard part is, I was a banker for 40 years. If you walked into my bank and asked me to loan you this money, you get a hard no. And a really hard no. Even if you got a yes from a 1%er out there, you would be looking at something like 60% loan to value. We're going into this at 100% loan to value based on taxpayer funds, because there is no real income right now to pay for that. So we just spent $8.1 million repairing parts of the township, and that debt is slowly getting paid down because we put it out, 30 years?
Yes.
So we could have a low debt to income ratio, which was a joke because the longer you stretch out debt, you can have a low debt to income ratio. So that was brought up by the past manager, not by Don. And I think Don's done a great job and has thoroughly done what this is. I agree that we should have a public hearing. And I agree, or I'd like to suggest before we have that public hearing, that we have a full business plan that includes contacts with the residents, township businesses, things like that, how we're going to use this space. But to put another $1 million in debt on the books as a taxpayer, I'm not happy. And yes, I will say once again, when you raise the taxes before, because this will include a tax increase, I'm assuming. Or I'm pretty sure of, I guess I'll say that. So before we do that, we ought to have a detailed plan, how we're going to reach out to successful restaurants, how we're going to book them, how they're going to succeed, what are they going to do to the property, how are we going to connect the two parking lots, are we going to make a backyard patio out on First Tee, things along that line. I think we really need a committee or somebody to get in touch and write a business plan for this property before we spend $1 million. It's just not fair to our lower income taxpayers. And I will always stick up for the lower income taxpayers. I can afford this if you do it. Okay? And I know a lot of our other residents probably attend these meetings that can. But there's residents in this township that when they get hit with a higher tax bill, can't. They may have to choose between, paying the gas to get to work, paying the food on the table, things along those lines. And I think we forget that sometimes. And that's what ticks me off, is because as a banker, I always was able to look out for the younger or the lower income people. I was able to give loans to people that nobody else would give loans to, because I learned to talk to people and touch people and things like that. And I think all that needs to go into a business plan. A business plan needs to be well researched, well done with people of different stature, the board, the residents, the staff, things like that, and get a committee together and put a business plan together before you spend $1 million.
Thank you for your comment, Mark.
I just want to know my
Sorry.
We didn't mean to cut you off. Hold on one second.
Don, are we talking about a tax increase for this?
This is coming out of the reserve fund.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay.
How much would a feasibility plan run? We're talking, what, $50,000-$60,000?
It would depend on the detailed nature of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mrs. Spalding, you just got to come up to the microphone.
I can take it.
You might need to turn it back on. You're great.
Okay. I have been a huge critic of the golf course, going back, I don't know, 10 years, maybe more. But I also was a commercial industrial real estate broker and Jack Lowe's representative for 7 years. I'm going to tell you, in my humble opinion, this township got screwed. Jack was many things. He was a brilliant businessman, but Jack came first. And so my biggest problems with this property from way back when was that it was losing money hand over fist. Now, at a point not that long ago, we crossed from losing money hand over fist to making some money. And we're sitting here with 200 acres of land. Now, I will tell you, I am astounded that we just had a sale of land in Exton, 100 and some odd acres for $65,000 an acre, which is incomprehensible to me, but it's there. So when I look at this property, there are a couple things about it. I have a cousin who comes up from Delaware to play here because this is one of the few golf courses left that you can afford to Mark's point. This is a golf course that people can afford to go to, and most golf courses are far too expensive for the normal person. I'm not a golfer to play. So we have a couple things here. We have a golf course. What we really have is 200 acres of land. And in Chester County, we're losing acre by acre by acre, day after day after day after day. Now, that being said, one of the other problems with this thing the whole time has been these cross easements that Jack left in place that screwed the township over and also screwed the restaurant owner. And that is the main reason that restaurant has never been able to work, because he didn't control the land. Now, I'm not looking at that property as a restaurant. I mean, I think it would be nice to have a restaurant there. I think that probably is something that would be useful to the golf course. But in reality, what we're buying is an excellent building, 3 acres of land, adjoining 200 acres of land worth $10 to $13 million.
Mm-hmm.
So are we willing to spend $925,000 to control more around it? Yes, I'm willing to do that.
I agree.
So I think we need to step, and I think it's a good point that was made. We need to step back from what happened in the past, because what happened in the past is irrelevant to where this is going in the future. And to Don's point, at some point, this building is too small. And at one point, there was a plan to build a whole new place up there across at Spackman Farm. We're never going to be able to afford to do that. Buildings are so expensive at this point in time that, and there's not enough land here to double this building, I don't think. So we're also looking at the potential for a future office building, if nothing else worked. So to me, we're looking at saving 200 acres, straightening out the mess that was there, and a potential future home for our building and using it for others. And it's not losing money anymore. So my hugely angst background of despising the golf courses has been rolled away. So I'm for it. And I was one of the ones that were against it. I'm also for it because, investing in buildings and land, nobody's lost a dime in this county who has ever put 5 cents into a piece of land. And if we buy it for $9.25, even if you had to sell it in 2 years, you're going to get more than that.
Yep.
Thank you, Mrs.
Well said.
Thank you, Cheryl.
So we have an agreement of sale before us. It is the prerogative of the board to make a motion to move forward with that, or no motion can be made. It's, at this time, I would entertain a motion to acquire the 3.3 acres of property located at North Bailey Road.
So moved.
Second.
So I have a motion by Commissioner Evans and a second by Commissioner Thomas. Is there any further comments from the board? Seeing that, we'll move on to a vote. All those say in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. Motion carries 4-1.
Thank you, commissioners. That's all I have for this evening.
Thank you for
Thank
all
you.
your work on this, Don.
Yes.
Thanks, Don.
Next up, we have board minutes to approve. I will entertain a motion to approve the February 26, 2026 board minutes.
Could I ask to have this tabled? I did find some issues with it.
Absolutely. So we will table the minutes until the next meeting.
The updated ones, because this is.
Yeah, no, I did. I took a look at the revised ones, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No problem. We can table them and we can look at them again. Next up is Finance Department check approvals. I'll entertain a motion to approve checks 55,480 through 55,566.
So moved.
There a second?
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Mullen, second by Commissioner Kennedy. Any questions or comments on the checks? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We're moving on to board liaisons. Parks and Recreation, Commissioner Kennedy.
Okay, before I give my report, I just want to again express my gratitude, excuse me, to our commissioners here and to our managers, Don and Abby, and to the old Callan Historical Society on behalf of the research project for the Carver's Court Defense Housing Project. I really appreciate everybody for allowing that to happen. It was a great success. And to the public, if you haven't had an opportunity to come by to see the exhibit, it'll just take you through the journey of what it took and some of the hidden treasures to get it on the National Registry of Historical Places in Callan Township. And we were a part of the town tour, and it was exciting as well. So I just wanted to say that again. So it looks beautiful. And it seems like even after the research, every time I look at it, I'm still discovering something new. So it's interesting. And everybody had a great time. It was quite a success. Okay, so Parks and Rec. We met on February, what was that? Was that the 6th? I'm not even sure myself.
Sounds right.
No, was it?
Parks and Rec is the first Monday.
And we had a great discussion. It was probably one of the lengthiest Park and Recs meetings that I attended in the past 7 years. It's so much going on, some excitement. Wow. So I don't even know where to start. But anyway, we're going to be meeting here on Monday. So if anybody's not busy, we have 4,000 Easter eggs that we need to stuff for the Easter egg hunt. So if you're out there and you want to help make this a success, we'll be here on Monday evening at 6:30, stuffing 4,000 eggs. So we need all the help we can get so we can get them stuffed and put away and be ready to get ready for the Easter egg event on April the 4th at Municipal Park. And even this year, Jessica had discussed that we're considering doing a sensory Easter egg hunt for children with special needs. So we're really working on that, and hopefully we can make that happen as well. Even if we have to use one of our other parks so that they're in an area that's conducive to, their abilities and is safer for them, we're going to make it happen. So that should be exciting. We have a busy agenda this year, looking at events all the way up till December 6th, it looks like. A lot of events going on to be like the Art in the Park, and we won't just be doing it this year just for children, we'll be doing it for adults as well. So that's going to be exciting. So we didn't forget about you. And that brings me to mind too, even with the building that we discussed, having a place where we can have art events. And I've seen many townships that have brochures where they're having not just art classes, but even educational classes for their residents on, how to do. It could be something simple as income tax, or having a class where you can come together and learn a new technique in photography. People pay for those classes. And so if we had that building operating, we would have a room where we could use to incorporate those type of events. That these are things that people enjoy doing, and we would have a place to host them. So it has a lot of creative things that are flowing. And if you have ideas, we'd like to hear them as well. But I think, again, to secure that building from somebody from the outside coming into our township and possibly doing who knows what. But if we have control of it, then we control what we want to do and how we want to see it invested. And it will work, because we have some great minds here and great people, and we're going to be doing some beautiful things there. Just give us the opportunity to show you the time that we already spent to figure out how we're going to make this work. It's not just about a restaurant. It's about an entrepreneurship, ideas that are overflowing, with great things that we can do for our residents. Education, trainings, crafts. We need office space. It has so many potentials. So just, open up your mind and look at the bigger picture. And we're not just talking about a restaurant. We're talking about a beautiful venue that'll be like a multi-purpose building for Calhoun Township to continue to grow. We're also looking at some of our spring and summer bus excursions, which is something new because, we always did the New York trips. And there's been some discussion that maybe we can think of out of the box a little bit and try to think about other events and excursions that we can do off season.
We're going to DC,
I know there's a Washington, D.C.
May
trip
30th.
on May 30th. So just keep your eyes open for that one. That should be very nice. But we're just looking for other things to do for our residents besides walking the cold streets of New York City. Although I enjoy it, but we want to make sure that we meet everybody's needs. So we're looking at other excursions so we can do that as well. Also, we have cleanup weekend
Yeah.
coming up, March 28th through the 29th. And I think you can go online and sign up. So let's clean up. I mean, we had a lot of rain, we had a lot of snow, we got a lot of ice, so we got a lot of trash. So everybody, let's get down and get ready to clean up. So by the time the flowers start to bloom and the parks get filled up, it'll be a beautiful place to enjoy the area parks and the meadows. I had probably started something. I was interested in, if you look at that back wall behind you, it looks great, doesn't it? So we had some ideas about trying to create a mural on the back wall that would possibly feature many of our historical sites throughout the township and our meadows, and just bring some of the outside in. I mean, I think it would bring some life into the meeting room and make it a little bit more pleasant to spend hours upon hours here. So like looking at a blank wall. So that's something we're entertaining as well. So if you have ideas for that, we would like to see a mural done on the back wall featuring many of our historical sites and our parks and our streams and our meadows. So many beautiful things going on. Spackman Farm, the old schoolhouse. Could you imagine seeing all that in the back with trees and meadows behind it? So keep that in mind because we're entertaining that as well. We're also looking at our summer series. So you can go online, look at the calendar of events after events after events. Also planning and working along with the historical committees on planning events and activities for America 250 at Spackman Farm. So we have a lot of work ahead of us. This is going to be a beautiful, busy year in the township. A conflict of interest with me, I wasn't able to attend the COG meeting last week. However, I did reach out to one of the colleagues on the team. There wasn't much of a discussion other than the fact that we're pushing hard to market our scholarship again for students in high school that are interested in going on to college to study government, political science, urban planning, and they're giving out like a $2,500 scholarship to someone in our COG region. Thank you.
Jane,
Thanks,
thank
Jane.
you. Question, when's the Parks and Rec gonna do a Phillies bus trip? I'm getting emails on it right now.
Okay. Whenever you want.
Whatever you want.
We used to do baseball trips back when I was on Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
The problem with that is if you can't fill the bus, you got to try to get rid of the tickets. We used to do a Yankees one
Mhm.
and
That was-
we did a couple times and at the end, Tony was on StubHub trying to sell the tickets because it just, but I think the one time we did a Reading filling one
We did
and
a couple of those,
that's
yeah.
sold out.
Yeah.
It's cheaper too.
Yeah.
I did
There
that
you
one
go.
with Mrs. Steele,
Ooh,
well, a couple years with
okay.
Mrs. Steele. So yeah, that would be nice. And that's what we're looking for, ideas.
Mm.
You know, if you, a family night at the ballpark, that's a winner, you know? I said, let's a day at the shore. Because a lot of people don't have the opportunity to go, you know, and that's what we want about. It doesn't cost us anything. We get the money for the bus. The people pay for their tickets. It costs us nothing. All we're doing is providing entertainment. So there's no reason like who's paying for the bus, who's good. That you don't have to concern yourself with who's paying for the bus. The bus is being paid for by itself. It's just a matter of getting it out there, having entertainment, and that would be another thing. You know, we have a place now where we can provide this type of entertainment. You know, wedding venues, the sky's the limit. So let's go for it. Thank you.
Thanks, Jane. Next up, Municipal Authority, Dara.
Yeah, I'm not following that.
Yes, you are.
Oh, talk EDUs to me. Talk EDUs.
This mic is not doing very well.
Let me make EDUs beautiful here.
Again.
Again, yes. All right, well, yeah, for the sewer board, our board at our last meeting, and we were snowed out, I think on the 26th, the fourth Monday of February. So we held our meeting March 3rd. But our board had approved or recommended to pass along what we approved this evening for that Seventh Amendment for the DARA contract. Second thing is the Kings Grand Pump Station electric upgrade. We have approved the chairman to sign the Keystone Engineering Group proposal for the bidding, construction, administration, and closeout, not to exceed $40,800. And this authorizes them to proceed going out to bid for the Kings Grant Pump Station electric upgrade. I thought we did that originally, but I was corrected by Scott. We did everything else except the electrical upgrade at the time when we took it over. And the last thing is we were awarded the PA Small Water and Sewer Program grant for $105,000. That was part of the 1.3 that the township had received. This will go towards the $291,210 for the Phase 2 portion of the Dogwood Scott Drive sewer extension. We are looking, because there is a bit of a gap on that, but we are looking to apply for the LSA grant, hopefully in the fall, to help with the difference on that, because that is a little bit too much for our residents to try to pick up the difference between the 291 and 105. But it's good to get free money.
Oh, yeah.
Won't turn that down. And as far as DARA, as we spoke earlier, they have the Seventh Amendment, I mean. But they are continuing to work on finalizing the design and permitting to modernize the existing wastewater treatment facility, which is just us trying to get more capacity.
Perfect.
EDUs.
Yes, EDUs, yes.
Next up is Fire Board.
We did not meet in January. And I believe in the next week or two, we do have a meeting. I forget the date.
Okay.
So I do not have an update at this time.
I do know
But-
that they are down there currently looking at the fire truck, correctly?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ray's down in Florida.
And Patrick and Donnie with them?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, they're currently inspecting the truck, so hopefully soon.
Are they bringing it back with them?
Not quite yet.
Drive it back.
Next up, Historical Commission, Mr. Evans.
Thanks. We actually canceled our February official meeting and took our show on the road. We went to visit with the Parksburg Historical Commission, which meets the same date of the month as we do. And we were just, we gave them a little presentation of what we've been able to accomplish here and what we're working towards here, and listen to what they have and what they're trying to accomplish. They're one of those situations where their historical commission and their society had whittled down to almost nothing, and that they've got a couple of real fireballs there, and they're starting to build it up again. I'm very excited about them. We will meet next Wednesday, the 18th, I believe. And I think I've said this before, with the America 250 at Spackman Davis Farm, the Chester County Community Foundation awarded us with a $10,250 grant. And that's based on the successes that they have seen with our Dare to Declare event so far. They said they were inspired by our longest picnic table. So we're excited. We're moving forward. I don't have anything else to say.
Okay. Mr. Thomas, Lincoln Highway.
Lincoln Highway. Absolutely. This would be my first report and
Very brief.
going to be very brief. We have not held a meeting since our last meeting in February. Our meeting coming up will be this Monday, where we will have a couple interesting items on the agenda, including no doubt some of the studies that are being done in the process on Lincoln Highway for traffic and pedestrian safety. And we will report back to you on those in next, I guess that would be the April meeting.
Mhm. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional business? Seeing none,
There's someone on one.
Mark DeYoung has. Oh. Mark,
Hello, everybody.
hello.
Just a couple quick points. I know we went 4-1 on the purchase of the restaurant and the land, but I couldn't hear who was the nay, so I'd like to know who that was.
That was me, Mark.
Josh, you were the nay,
Correct.
and you've been a big proponent of this golf course because you live on the golf course, if I know correctly, right?
I don't live on the golf course, but I am a proponent of the open space for the golf course.
So what was your thoughts on the nay?
I just don't know that we have enough of a plan for me to vote yes.
And I and Vince, and obviously probably some others who aren't here and talking about it, totally agree with you. So I appreciate you putting forth a nay and trying to help us make great decisions. My last part is during the end of that, before I got cut off, I believe, I won't even say which commissioner it was, I'll just be nice. Someone referred to it as this dollars are coming out of reserves, which isn't taxpayer money. I'm sorry, but the only way that money got in there was taxpayer money. So you guys sometimes have interesting ways to look at economics.
Mark, let
And
me just jump in here real quick so we can say exactly what was said. I said to Don, and this was in response to either you or Tony, but I think it was you, suggesting that we were going to raise taxes for this. And I asked Don, are we going to raise taxes for this? And Don said, no, it's coming out of reserve fund.
then I believe you said that's not taxpayer money.
No, you're incorrect about that, sir.
Well, we'll agree to disagree.
If you see it on the video, I will happily say I apologize, but no, I wasn't even thinking that. Again,
Well, I haven't,
me and my wife
haven't watched
pay
a video of this before,
we-
but I'll
we
watch
pay
that one.
$15,000 a year in taxes, my wife and I. So we really care about tax money here.
And so do all of us. And I just, when money comes from one fund to another fund, it was just like the Spackman Farm. When we got that, oh, it's not going to cost us anything because the farmer's going to pay for the farm, but for farming. And that's great. But that money used to go into the general fund. So it did come out of tax money. And last time we went through this, that was not obvious to any of you. So I'm just disappointed in your understanding of finances and things like that when you're running a township of this size.
Okay, Mark, and next point?
I would like to
No,
make a
that's it.
comment
Okay.
on this and what I've heard from a couple of the residents going forward from here. As a planner and somebody who spent over 25 years in real estate doing both residential and commercial, I have an issue with some of the comments that were made this evening. And I also have an issue with the dire lack of vision that we have in this community. The throwback to what we were in the past needs to be revisited. One of the many reasons that I ran is this township has a poverty of ideas. And what we have here is a perfect opportunity to add to an existing asset that the township owns. We also have an opportunity to expand that. Over the last 10 to 15 years, the demographics of this township have shifted significantly. And anybody driving down Lincoln Highway right now could take a look and see that the vacancy rates of those units is down. People are moving in and are looking for amenities. And to quote a resident from this town, they're sick of going out to Lincoln Highway and taking a left and driving to Exton or Westchester every time we want to grab something or grab dinner. The moment that we can start capturing our own residents and having them spend money here, again, I'll quote Ed Rendell, if they're going to spend their money, I'd rather have it here than in New Jersey. The idea is if we have an opportunity to expand and we're bringing in people that are going to be looking at that site at the golf course for a great restaurant. If it works, that's fantastic. If it doesn't, we do have alternative plans in place where maybe we use it as an existing space for the township. Maybe we look at other options. But at this point, if we ignore it and we don't take this opportunity when we have it to grab that space at this price and map our own future, what are we sitting here for? I mean, this is exactly what we're supposed to be doing. This is a township's job. Let's take a look at what we have, our assets, and let's make it a point so that we can actually create the environment where business can thrive and we can do things. And by the way, to compare what you did in banking for residential and small-time commercial has absolutely no comparison to what governments do.
Thank you.
So at this point, I will cede my time, but I think this is a decision that was thought over and has been given a tremendous amount of due diligence, not only by staff, but by the members of this board, and had to make a decision in a veil of unknown to try to figure out what we could do for not only our future, but for our assets here in the township as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I move on to finally, any public comment from here in the building. Okay. Seeing no more public comment, I'll move on to adjournment.
So moved.
Motion to adjourn is moved by Commissioner Evans, second by Commissioner Kennedy. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.